Hello and welcome to this episode of the Ranting Atheist podcast. Today we'll be listening to the second part of the Clubhouse room discussion we had a while ago, titled, Was God in the Bible a Rape Apologist? So this is the second part of probably 5 or 6, and it was fun. Violence here and there, and Christians as usual sidestepping and just giving us plain bullshit. So please subscribe Apple, Spotify, Google, YouTube, any place you get podcasts from, and please enjoy this episode.
Okay, thank you, my people. My people, we love you, and my people loves me. So anyways, let's do the room reset. So, was God in the Bible a rape apologist? So we have actually hey Jehovah. So we have studied the Bible and we have come to this conclusion. Or in fact, we are opening this to people to come and tell us what they think about the God of the Bible. So we read different verses in the Bible, Deuteronomy 28 to 29, that actually says that if a woman violates a woman, violation being rape, that all the rapist has to do is to pay 50 shekels of silver to the father and marry the victim for the rest of her life. Somewhere in Lot, during the Sodom and Gomorrah debacle, when the people wanted to rape the angels, Lot offered his daughters in order to save the life of total strangers. We also have the Midianite story, where I think it's in Numbers 31 from 15 to 18, where God gave Moses strict instructions. God said, kill all the men, kill all the boys, kill all the women that have known men, but save for yourselves virgins. And if you go further down in that verse, if you look at verse 32, it says, the plunder remaining from the spoils that the soldiers took was 675,000 sheep, 72,000 cattle, 61,000 donkeys, and 32,000 women who had never slept with a man.
God damn it.
That was what they classified as bounty. So your God actually classified 32,000 virgins as. What was the test they did to find out that these women were virgins? So now I would say that these women that have never slept with men are likely girls. Because if they were older, they will have to be killed because there's no way they could have checked for if they were virgins. So obviously, if you use logic, that means the actual 32,000 virgins they actually saved for themselves, which was the instruction of God, were likely young girls. Because those are the ones you could assure have a level of certainty that they are virgins. And then this is my own icing on the cake. God himself is a rapist. And Tobe, this is where I disagree with you. I think God is a he. God is a he because it's only a man that will fuck shit up and want to be thanked for making shit right after he has fucked it up. So God has so many toxic masculine personalities. So that is why I like to ascribe him a he. And I would like to say that God himself violated the autonomy of Mary, her independence, her agency. And I don't even care whatever age Mary was. Even if Mary was 150 years old, a human being cannot consent to a God because of the power dynamics. For consent to be explicit, that means there will be no negative consequences if I say no. That means we have to be on equal footing in respect to the power dynamics between both of us. Now, if the power dynamics between both of us is unequal, I cannot explicitly consent to you because we are not on the same basis. Because because of the fear of repercussion if you say no. So we can understand that the God of the Old Testament is not a God you can say no to. When Eve said no to God, she was punished, or when she sinned against God, she was punished with the pain of childbirth for all eternity. So tell me, why would a child that knows all these things about an immortal being want to say no to such a person? So that is where we are going now. So we have numerous passages. If you want to attack the virgin birth, go ahead. If you want to episode, go ahead. However you want to do it, you go ahead. But next on the queue right now is Viola. So Viola, you're next on the queue. You got 3 minutes. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. And you, just a side note, I've never met a Satanist before. I'm curious. Is it Church of Satan?
Yes, sir.
Oh, nice. Lovely. Great to meet you. So I'm really loving this room. I'm loving the violence. I like the fact that, tempers are flaring, because this is how you engage. This is how you refashion your ideas, or you concede, or you learn something new. What I will say is that despite the fact that I am an atheist and have been one for quite some time, I would implore, please, people should not stone me, but I would implore atheists to try and engage with these theists a bit more politely. They are not Yeah, no, seriously, they're not used to their ideas being bombarded like this. And they do not have the level of intellectual honesty that we have. So if we can be somewhat gracious, I think it will really make this experience a whole lot better for all of us. Thank you.
I agree 100%.
Okay, no problem, Valhalla. Viola will take our.
I think I'm next.
Thank you.
So the next person, I think Toboro wanted an atheist, then a Christian. Yet so Tala, bless us.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sorry.
Who is interjecting?
I thought it's according to PTR order.
No, Toboro says she wants atheist and then a Christian. That's what she said. So I'm following her ordinance. So Tala
Thank you.
is Christian. Let him go. Then after Tala, it's going to be Dr. Adedabo.
Thank you, Anua. Thank you, Room. And I just want to say for the record, I like this space. I like this space because it's a space that is going to be used to give God glory, because everyone is debating the word of God. That is good. Let me start by saying, arise, Lord God of Elijah, and smite thy enemies utterly. In Jesus' name, amen.
Including the rapists.
In that person's name, amen.
Now, I want to speak to the title. I understand that most atheists see things through worldly eyes and emotions. But guess what? Even those who worship God in spirit and truth, they do see things through worldly eyes and emotions. There are cases of people saying prayer or taking Holy Communion on Sunday mornings, and their dicks are rising because of beautiful girls next to them wearing perfumes, or in the case of people who are same-sex lovers, a beautiful man next to them taking communion. So the flesh is weak, but at all times we try to tame our flesh, knowing that none is perfect and holy as Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. But everyone aspires to that level of holiness as espoused by our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. For those of you who are Christians, you will understand what I mean. For those who are atheists, your opinion doesn't really matter. So, the truth is this. When the flesh touches you, when the flesh pricks you to feel as men do, you begin to see men and women in terms of sex, copulation, ejaculation, and pleasure. We all like that, but we must learn to control our flesh. lack of
Tala, that is
ability.
not what you're talking about.
Guy,
Tala.
you're
See the
preaching.
title of
You are
I'm
preaching.
getting somewhere.
If you don't address the topic, you'll be
have
booted
3
off.
minutes.
I am
Please
getting
stop
I'm
this
getting
preaching
somewhere. If you are
nonsense.
afraid of the wrath of God, you can do what you want. I know you are afraid.
Your God can't do shit.
People are afraid of the
Wait,
wrath of
wait.
God.
No,
Everybody
it's
hold
not
on.
about
Address
God.
Stop being
no, wait.
offensive
Everybody
and
hold
stop
on.
triggering people. Stop
Guys,
it.
just
Stop
hold
it.
on.
Stop
Guys, hold
it.
on. Hold on, I beg. See, Tala, see.
Hold on. What's going on? I don't know what's happening. Tala, just see. I'm not trying to silence you, please. Please.
No,
I'm not trying
I know you're not, but you're scared of what I'm saying. I understand.
No,
I
I'm not
understand.
scared. I just
Your
wanted
reverse psychology cannot
to
work. All
channel
this
your
nonsense is
conversation towards
Targaryen.
the title of the room.
They probably
Okay.
thought we are delusional set of people here. We are not. We are not.
Oh,
No, I don't
Just
even
have
I
to
don't even
talk.
care. I don't even care what sort of people you are. I'm just happy to be on the
okay,
stage.
Tala,
If you
can
don't
you
care, you
speak
shouldn't be
in
on this stage,
response
Mr.
to the
Tala. You
When
topic?
shouldn't
people
be
Stop
on
look
being
this
at this
stage
condescending.
title,
if you don't care.
the thing
If you
the thing they
don't
see is
care,
rape.
please get the fuck.
Period.
Everybody hold on.
If you
Everybody
don't,
hold on.
Let's
Tala,
see, I will not
hold on,
accept
hold
that.
on,
Tala,
Oh.
guys.
I don't want to
Come and say you
silence you,
don't care.
Tala.
You are here on the stage talking.
I know you are afraid of the wrath of God.
Yes, I'm afraid.
Oh,
Okay,
no,
yes. Are
Wala.
you happy? I'm afraid of your Yahweh.
So,
Sorry,
Everybody hold on
guys,
now.
hold on, I beg.
Everybody hold on, guys, please.
Can I
Tala,
finish the topic and you want?
Just hold
I
on,
have 2
Tala.
minutes.
Hold on a second, Tala. Hold
You are
on.
still on this
Everything,
stage
hold
because
on,
of
hold on.
Yahweh.
What are you afraid of?
Hold on a second, right? Please, Tala, in your submission, please don't threaten people with you're afraid of the wrath of God.
No, but
Let's
you
not.
are now. You are.
Hold on. Can you just hold
can you
on?
threaten Buhari with that?
See, we are speaking to you as adults, right? We're trying
No,
to have
you
a
are speaking as
conversation.
atheists.
Please, can
Dami,
we move on
Do you
quickly?
see?
Dami,
Sorry.
allow him
Wait.
to
No, I
threaten
want to.
anybody with what the fuck he wants to threaten. Is
No,
fuck.
the
In
thing
2
is,
minutes,
I
I've
don't
rounded
Give
up.
a fuck about what
see.
he's saying.
In 2 minutes, in 2 minutes, you've not even
Everybody
addressed the topic.
All you think about is
You've not
fuck.
even addressed the topic. You are saying you have 2 more minutes. You've not even addressed the
so,
topic. You're
okay,
saying rubbish.
okay.
Guys,
He's
just
being
hold on.
very
Let me just address
condescending.
that,
Everybody, hold
Okay,
right?
on. I've
everybody, hold
moved
on.
into the audience. We are moving on. We are moving on. I don't have his time anymore.
It's just
No, wait.
Next person is Dr. Adetapo. Adetapo, please go on.
Yeah, thanks, bro. Well, mine is just going to be really quick. I think for me,
Dakpo, please, can I finish?
No,
well, yeah,
Can you just
obviously.
hold on? Like they brought you back up. Just respect it. They brought you because you're disrupting the stage. So just hold on, okay? Dr. Dapo, I beg. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. Well, for me, I think I'm not going to focus on the details of the events in the Bible because Inyua and the rest have done a good job addressing those things. But I'm just going to really focus on the common thread or the common theme, right? So I think it's important for us to also look at how these events in the Bible have actually shaped a cultural attitude towards rape, right? And even in modern times. So in terms of how women are constantly blamed for the crimes that are perpetrated against them, right? So perpetrated against them rather. So you look at the instance of David raping Bathsheba or Dinah being raped or the attempts to rape Dinah, or even the ones that Moses also did in terms of, well, not the one he did, but the one he sort of sanctioned implicitly by saying these virgins should be kept for debauchery, right, in the Bible. Now, this is all about how women should maintain sexual purity, not for the benefit of the women, but for the benefit of the men, right? Because they were regarded as the properties of men, right, from a cultural standpoint. And because of that, they have to sort of remain undamaged, right? So the minute any woman is touched, then she becomes a damaged good, so to say. And you then see instances where those who have committed the crime are actually not punished in any way, right? But it's the woman that is somehow implicitly blamed, right, for what she has done, for what has happened to her, right? And you could see how over time it has actually shaped a cultural attitude in terms of how the church even addresses issues such as rape within the church, like the Catholic Church, or how women are constantly made to keep quiet when such atrocious things have happened to them. or even in terms of how the Christian community in Nigeria, for instance, will obviously even try to make sure cases such as rape or sexual assault are addressed within the church rather than through the civil or legal framework in the society. So for me, I just sort of connect the dots here and look at how all these events have again informed a cultural attitude towards women. And it's just sad to see that Christians who sort of oppose these beliefs and read these, insidious scriptures do not even have the capacity, the moral capacity, right, to look at this and say, yeah, this is wrong. And because this is in conflict with my principles, I don't think I can attach myself or affiliate with this particular religion. They don't have the capacity to do that because they are so brainwashed that they think a God that sanctions rape is still the same God that actually, that is deserving of being called a good God. It's just ridiculous to me. But lastly, I would like to say this though. So there's already a reaction room to this particular room. I was there for a bit, and it's just interesting to see how all these Christians are already in their emotions. And again, it tells you where they are in terms of the spectrum of morality. Yeah, I'll just end here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Can I say something, please?
Everybody hold on. Everybody hold on. So according to Tobore, the commission is this: one Christian, one atheist. That is how we are doing it. But before we move to Christian to speak, Tobore, are we still doing responses or are we skipping responses, Tobore?
Yeah, she's just if you don't mind, let Tala finish because he didn't finish uninterrupted, please.
Okay.
And then we can move on with you. But
Sorry.
I'm supposed to go after Tala.
Who messaged me? Sorry.
I was.
Can you guys just mute for a second, please?
So people messaged me. Some people left the space already. That the more teachers are like not being fair. They don't feel like they can actually speak. So I feel like, I don't know, for me, it's sort of neutral. So let's let her mod, please, so that she can let people speak.
We shouldn't bring emotions into these things. Nobody should come and use emotional blackmail. This emotional blackmail.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. So Tobere is going to say how the room is going to go, and that's the way it's going to go, okay? So let's not push back against the way. It's her room. She opened it. So the way she wants the room to run is the way it's going to run, all right? Tobere, go ahead and finish, and then Tyler will finish, and then we'll move on.
Yeah, basically, I was thinking one Christian, one atheist or something. And I don't know what happened with Tyler, but they moved them down. That's like not fair, clearly. So for me, just mod the space so that, because most of us were atheists and we were very intolerant. I know for myself, and it's not easy to hear people or hear Christians when they speak sometimes. So that's very, so for me, just mod and try and let people speak. And I'll talk to the other mods about the whole thing also.
Okay, I have a question. Hold
on. Can everybody mute really quickly? Kelly, you can go after if Tala finishes, please. I beg. The only thing I'm
question. It's not solution.
Kelly.
I'm supposed to speak after Tala.
Can you guys mute for a second, please? Thank you. So the only thing that we're gonna ask on this stage is that you don't interrupt people, even if you don't like what they're saying, right? This is a topic based on religion, right? So if someone's making a submission, just mute your mic until they're done. If it's itching you that much to speak, just flash your mic and you can respond. Tobere said 2 responses. That's it. So don't interrupt anybody. If you interrupt anyone, I will move you down and I'll bring you up once that person is done speaking. Okay? So let's just do it like that. Kelly, what's your question, babes?
So are people allowed to be condescending? Because that's what Tyler was doing and that's why he was moved down.
Well, people are allowed to speak.
No, Allah.
They'll speak the way they want to.
But the topic itself is somewhat condescending.
Can you guys mute? Like, I don't understand.
She's answering.
Wait, hold on. So Kelly just asked a question, what she can do, right? And then I responded. We don't need ad libs, right? So people can speak the way they want to speak. You too, when it's your turn, if you want to be condescending, be condescending. It's simple, right? So just let the person speak, let them finish. And then there'll be 2 responses and then we'll move on to the next person, okay? So yes,
before they go, can we have a queue of the Christians since we are doing one Christian, one atheist?
Yeah,
I'm a Christian and I'm supposed to
I would like to
after
speak for the
Tala.
Christians, please. I would like to speak for the
all right, awesome.
Hold on, guys. See, if you're a Christian, right, please just flash your mic. I'll just speak. So I'm saying, sorry. So I'm saying Miss Amaka, that's number one. Number two,
I was supposed to speak before, after.
just hold on first now. Let me count. So for Christians, Miss Amaka, The Don, Seth, Funshaw, who else again? Who else? Flash your mic if I've not called your name, please. Okay, all right. So that's for the Christians. Then atheists. Okay, we'll just pick you as random. So for me, just go ahead with the
All
queue.
right, and I just want to say once again, this is a stage for both atheists and Christians, right? So we are going to let people finish their thought, whether they're an atheist, whether they're a Christian, whether they're Muslim, right? So just please don't interrupt. Just let people get it out, right? If you have to interrupt, like just move yourself down and then come up when they're done speaking. Like it's really that simple. So Tala, finish, please. And then the next person will speak. And obviously the mods can speak anytime, right? That wasn't in reference to you. But please let people finish speaking. Tala, go ahead and finish, please.
Thank you very much, Tony. Thank you very much, and God bless you. So I have been resurrected back on the stage. God be praised. Hallelujah. Now, when people look at this topic and title, they keep seeing the rape because of their flesh. But what you should be focusing on is the apologist. What is an apologist? An apologist is somebody who makes a case or an argument defending an issue which in most cases is negative or not really acceptable. God is not arguing with anybody. God is not defending anything. God is not here to tell you whether he's right or he's wrong. He is the I am that I am. So God is not an apologist of any sort, much less a rape apologist. Now, you may feel, why did God allow rape? Why does God condone rape? But like someone said earlier, human beings have the gift of choice and the freedom to make that choice right from the days of the Garden of Eden. But if you make the wrong choice, nothing is going to happen to you, but that wrong choice will lead you to a sequence of further choices which may take you to where you want to be or put you in a very bad place where you will regret being for the rest of your life. It's up to you. God is a God that loves everybody. Yes, there was rape in the Old Testament, but guess what? There is rape today. Even today, there are women bringing their fellow women to be raped by their friends. So much terrible nonsense is going on. And if you're going to say you're blaming God for everything, then you're going to lead a very miserable life. There was a survey by, I think, a Harvard journal or one of those Ivy League journals that said that most people who became atheists didn't become atheists from birth. They became after having an unfair experience, which made them to question the Spirit of God functioning in their lives. Guess what? They're not alone. They are not alone. But the thing is, do you choose to live in your flesh, or do you choose to rise above it and live according to the Spirit of God, which is in each and every human being that lives and breathes? Look, what you are doing here today is nothing new. Somebody actually sued God in America some years ago, and the case made headlines until it was forgotten. You can do what you want. God himself gave you that liberty, because where the Spirit of God is, there is liberty.
Tala, 1 minute, please. 1 minute.
Good.
Just round up.
The actions that you guys are upset about happened in the time and day when angels roamed the earth with human beings. And the people you should be pointing fingers at are the Nephilim, wicked angels who copulated with human women and gave birth to different sorts of sinful characters in the earth. If you want to be angry at anyone, face the Nephilim and stop arguing with God, your creator. So you can look into that you can look into the concept of the Nephilim and understand what I'm saying. And going further, you can have more rooms on these sorts of engagements. But please, if you want to be in safe spaces and be safe, also provide safe spaces in your own environment. You know, most of you can't do what you're doing on the ground. You can only do it on the app. Christians can do whatever they want anywhere. Thank you very much. God be praised.
Okay, thank you so much. Fumi, are you there? Hold on a second, guys, just hold on. Fumi, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. So we only
take responses.
We only have 2 responses per Tobere's rules. So Enyiwa, please take over. Only 2 responses per submission. Thank you guys so much for not interrupting. I know it was hard, but now you can 2 responses. Hold on really quickly, right? Hold on really quickly. So after the
relax.
Wait now, everybody relax real quick. Sorry. I think I just said that because Kelly said that. So no one is being silenced here. Everyone will get a chance to speak, whatever your religion is, blah, 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 blah. Okay, yeah. Enyiwa, please take over. 2 responses. Let Tala respond in a minute when everyone's done, and then we move.
Responses from people that haven't spoken before. So, and the 2 people that haven't spoken before, Kelly hasn't spoken, and Toby or Joe hasn't spoken. So, Kelly, you have 30 seconds. Toby, you have 30 seconds.
Oh, thank you very much. I just wanted to ask Salah to listen again to what he said and ask himself if what he said makes sense, right? Saying we should be angry at the Nephilim or Nephnims or whatever, like, are they not also angels, right? They were people that worked with God, right? So, and you saying that God is not an apologist because he is not endorsing. Abi, they've read the part in the Bible where they said keep the. Who is that one interrupting me? Not interrupting me.
Sorry.
I go beg you. Thank you. Abi, they read the part in the Bible where they said that God, they should keep the virgins apart and wanting to think. Like, can Christians just actually call a spade and not a fucking Ferrari? You would not die if you question your religion. You would not be less fertile if you're able to call a spade. Saying we should have him for the Nymphis and the Nephilims, it really made no sense to me. Nothing you said really made sense. It just sounds like what your pastor says you should say here. But I'll wait for my turn. They say after 30 seconds. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that, Kelly. The next is Toby Ojo. You have 30 seconds. Then Salah, you have 1 minute to just respond.
Yeah, sorry for interrupting. The Queen. I didn't know my mic.
It's okay. Sorry.
So Tala, first I just want to say thank you, for being you. Right? I like the way you came on stage and you are brave enough to, to defend your belief. A lot of people are like crybabies and they have gone to open rooms and say, "Oh my God, they are bullying me" and stuff. But I like the way you came on stage and said what you wanted to say, and you said boldly too with your chest. So that's good. I just, whenever you have the chance, I just wanted you to ask, what's the moral basis or the logical basis of why homosexuality is a sin? But rape is justifiable if you marry the person. I just wanted to. Now let's remove God. Let's remove God out of the equation. We're not talking about God. If God is a rape apologist, God is holy, God is perfect, He's awesome, He's good. Let's take that out and let's just look at the Bible, for example. What's the logical reason why rape is justifiable if you marry the person and homosexuality is a sin? I don't know if you can something.
Okay, thank you for that. So Tala, you have 1 minute, and after Tala, 1 minute is done. The next person to speak is Damola with orange shirt. Thank you.
Okay, so let me respond to
Tala,
the Queen.
1 minute to 1 minute.
1 minute.
Okay,
I will kick you off.
Let me respond to my girl, whether she likes it or not. Kelly Mekunye Chinonso, the Queen Pin, forever I stand. My response to you is, I don't have to listen to you. God bless you forever and ever. Amen. Now, let me respond to Toby. Toby, God bless you too. Okay. You see, this homosexuality question, I don't have a problem with anybody and their sexual.
I'm not saying you have a problem. I'm saying the Bible.
Forget about them. I'm talking. This is my own now. Who are they? What they know? So my issue is this: I don't see women on women as a problematic situation. That's just me. They choose to call themselves lesbians. I don't call them.
Sorry, you have 1 minute, and I just wanted
to. Doesn't matter now. If they stop me, then
Toby, he has 1 minute.
No, ask the question.
The more you interrupt me, the more you eat into my minutes.
Yes.
Now,
guys, sorry, Tala, hold on a second. Sorry, please. If you interrupt or interject and you're not in mod, I'll move you to the audience. So please do not interrupt Tala. Tala, you have 45 seconds more.
Good. Now, the reason why I don't approve of male homosexuality is simply because I was created a man. And I personally wouldn't want a man's cock in my body.
Tala.
I'm answering his question now. Let's be real. Let's be real.
Tala,
you want to put God in court, but you won't allow me to be real? Come on,
no, not that real. I'm so sorry.
Okay, you are afraid of human beings, but you don't fear God.
No, Tala.
Okay, I love you. I respect you. No problem.
Can you guys mute? Like, I don't understand.
Toby, they have stopped me from answering your question, so I yield.
Yeah, Tala, I'm sorry. Like, no, that was too much. You know, typically I won't interrupt people, but
why are we putting limits?
Okay, I'm sorry. If you unmute your mic, even if you don't speak, if I just see you on mute, I'll just move you down, right? Like, you don't even have to speak, just unmute. Okay, no one's unmuting. Thank you. All right. Enyiwa, please go ahead.
Thank you. So the next person is Damola.
Hi, everybody. So let me preface this by saying I'm an atheist. Religion doesn't make any sense to me. When I came up on the stage, I was actually excited for the conversation because I do like having intellectual back and forth with people, regardless of whether or not I agree with their religion. But the way the room has gone today is actually quite disappointing. Atheists, you might not like what Christians are saying, but let them speak. And Christians, don't be condescending. You might not like what atheists are saying, but really no one knows if they're right or wrong. That's really the truth of the matter. Nobody knows if they're truly right or wrong. Now, that being said, I do not believe, from what I've heard so far, I've been in this room for like over an hour now, I do not believe that anybody, rather Christian or atheist, actually has the range for this topic, because from what I've heard, no one really has theological experience, neither historical experience, knowledge to actually hold this topic. That being said, now I said I am an atheist, and I do know the passages, Numbers 31, Judges, the story of Mary. And as much as those stories are heartbreaking as a woman and for women, I have to say, and this is not going to be popular, I have to say, to the topic of the room, I actually disagree that God wasn't a rape apologist. If you have to take that question objectively, God was not a rape apologist because God does not enforce the law. What people have been bringing up, if you go with Numbers, if you go with Judges, those things were perpetrated by humans that said they were directed by the Lord. Now, I don't know if anybody has been paying attention to social media lately, especially Instagram. There's this woman that has been going viral in Nigerian space where she says she has gone to hell, and God told her that any woman that is wearing patterned clothes is going to hell, or anybody that does this is going to hell, hellfire this, hellfire that. The way the Bible was written is really not more than that. It's a bunch of people that, just like this woman that we laugh at, I laugh at, that say they have spoken to God and God told them this and God told them that. Most of the things perpetrated in the Bible were done by, raggedy ass humans who perpetrated violence based on the time that they were living in. And because those times very religious, religion centered, they ascribed their actions to God. Now, that being said, the only story in the Bible that we have discussed earlier that I think one could say had direct relations to God influencing a woman's body is the story of Mary. But then again, I honestly think it would be ridiculous and absolutely insane and borderline insanity to think Mary got raped by an angel, by some supernatural being that we don't know. I think that is actually borderline. To believe that is borderline psychotic. Because if that was possible, why isn't that happening today? And why is that the only time in history that that has happened? There is more to that story that will probably never be told because it's lost in history, and somebody really is not divulging some information in that sense. So that's why I have to say, but people just respect each other's opinions, and and just it's not that deep. It's really, really not that deep. Thank you.
Okay. So we need 2 responses. I'm getting 2 opposing responses. So Kelly, this is Kelly and the Don.
Okay.
Can we that have not spoken please speak, please?
Yes, but you just came up on stage, Rotam. Don't move.
The people that have been on stage for an hour that haven't spoken yet, just be patient, I beg.
Thank you. For a check now, he's part of LDC, so that's why he's coming to be this way. Anyway, as I was saying, right, thank you very much for what you said, Damola, and I kind of like how you presented your argument, right? But this is what I would say, right? I don't think that anybody believes that there was any physical rape when it comes to the Immaculate Conception as it is. But as for the title of the room, it says God in the Bible and how it was portrayed. And based on how the Immaculate Conception was portrayed, if we're going to call a spade and not a fucking Ferrari, the issue here is that Mary at the age of 8 to 12, 8 to 14, could not have given consent, right? And the whole idea of be done to me according to thy word. She was a 12-year-old kid. She saw this mystical creature. If at my big age of 26, one mystical creature appears to me and says, do you know what, Kelly? The Most High that I know, and mind you, is the one that did Sodom and Gomorrah, the one that kidnapped Jonah in the belly of a fish, the one that was not taking, like basically fire and brimstone, right? So if at my big age of 26, one mystical creature appears to me and says, hear thee, the Most High has said you're going to carry, I'm paraphrasing before they come and say this is not what I don't really give a shit. The Most High has said you're going to carry Emmanuel or whatever. You think I'm fucking going to say no? Exactly. And that is where it comes from. So even if there was no physical act or whatever, the point is that Mary could not have given consent. And what was done to her was done without her consent. Thank you. I'm done. Sorry.
Thank you very much. Thank you. The Don, you have 30 seconds.
Yeah, I find it's first of all, you understand, people are quoting books without understanding the history of the books. There are books some books that were removed from the Bible because, they said that they were apocryphal. So maybe they can offer you an insight into stuff. So there are different depending on who accepted it. It is what you see in the Bible or not. So they may or may not be controversial. That's one side of it.
Okay, thank you. We are using the King James version, not the Apocrypha. Next person is Miss Amaka as the next Christ. Oh, sorry, Damola, you have a minute to.
Yeah, let me quickly respond to the Queen. Yeah. I hear you, and we had discussed this earlier in the conversation where Mary was spoken about, and I did explicitly say that, there was no way she could give consent, and God cannot. Somebody brought up the point about God being all-knowing, and I said, I basically said God cannot be good by allowing Mary to get pregnant as a child. That being said, that conversation comes from the understanding that she was impregnated by an immaculate conception. And for me to believe that would be borderline insanity. I do not believe that was the case. That's my personal thing. And the the Bible itself, for me, it's akin to reading Harry Potter books, because it's just, for me, it's a ridiculous book written by a bunch of people that do not have the knowledge that we possess, just the knowledge that we possess, an everyday, regular human possesses today, right? They had such limited, myopic views of anything, right, that I could not hold what they write to any esteem at all. So that's that. Yeah. That's my.
I get what you're saying, but for this conversation, we are working with the parameter that what happened in the Bible actually happened, right? But I do understand where you're coming from, and it's a very plausible argument. But for this conversation, we are speaking in the terms that what happened in the Bible actually happened the way the Bible stated it. That's the scope we are operating on. So now we're having a Christian go next. The Christian is Miss Amaka is a Christian. Please go ahead.
Can everybody else mute their mic? Can everybody just mute their mic?
Sorry, anyone.
Can you just hold on? Just hold on. Just wait. Let Miss Amaka go. Everybody mute your mic.
Dami, I'm sorry. I was speaking and went off.
We'll come back to you later at the dawn. Don't worry. Miss Amaka, go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. This is a very interesting conversation, and as a Christian, I have my own points to make, right? And somehow I feel like all points are valid, right? But at the same time, I just feel like listening to most Christians is a thing of you questioning your morals, because if Christianity really was a thing of love, right? Because when I was carrying Christianity, who can think in my mind, like taking the Bible literally, which I shouldn't, but I felt like the purpose of Christianity was supposed to be for you knowing your moral compass and you having love within you. But clearly, a lot of Christians who have come shouting how proud they are in Christianity, valid, right? But seem to lack love, seem to lack morals, and don't even have the mental rate to, objectively analyze things, right? And we have to understand this Christianity trickled down from different religion is a combination of a lot of things, right? And it came from, before Bible became this little Palasai something, it started from Arameria. It was Aramaic, right? And that was predominantly Black people. I mean, depends on who wrote the history, and we have to understand that history sometimes is always told by the victor, right? And most people's history or whatever story is not necessarily listened to or assessed. I mean, if I'm a victor and I stole things from you, I can tell you that you are just an ape jumping from a tree and one day you woke up as a man. It is my history, and so what? You cannot challenge it unless you have the gumption, the common sense, and you're honest with yourself, right? So yes, Aramaic, then before that it entered Hebrew, from Hebrew it entered Greek. And you have to understand, as the Bible was coming down, right? A lot of passages were removed, a lot of things were taken away based on people's bias, based on people. And sometimes when people talk about this Bible was written and inspired, and I get it, right? And there's a quest for that, want to be so holy. And Christians can be quite grandiose, and I just wish they channeled it in the rightful rightfully, right? But sometimes I just feel like whenever they challenge, they don't necessarily back it up with the so-called Bible, because I've heard atheists talk and they were quoting the Bible, they were getting it very much, and most Christians came off and they were busy just lashing out, crying like a baby, which I understand. If you are so much brainwashed and all, I mean, you want to defend something. Do you know what it means for you to be paying tithes you don't have, offering, and you probably have worshipped a man of God, and someone told you that these men, they are all in the same WhatsApp group scamming you, and you, because you don't question yourself, you probably are also part of the pawn. Let's be honest, it can be annoying and insulting, and sometimes for you to also question your intelligence. That's why sometimes once they want to defend themselves, they really can't defend themselves. Especially, they can't even come back with Bible and say it. And once they even quote Bible, it's usually shaky as their moral, right? So when most of this Christianity came from ancient Egypt, and scratch it, it came from ancient Kemet, right? And before that, it even came from Ethiopia. It depends on the history where you're looking at, right? And a lot of things we aren't tracing. Like, again, those who wrote the history, right? Those who wrote it, those who conquered, they wrote their own story. And most of the times, most of these morals were usually used because one, you have to understand that this religion was a tool for people who felt they were powerful to kind of subjugate people, especially women and the poor. That's why you see most of the times the people that usually hold religion with so much tenacity are women, because especially when we are really subjugated, when we never really had a voice to begin with, right? They hold it tenaciously because they feel like there will be this Alpha and Yahweh who probably...
We have one more minute, though. But go ahead. Thank you.
There's probably this Yahweh somewhere he'll endorse Master Johnny, who will support you. And sometimes they kind of believe that this being will suddenly show you favor because you should be his favorite, right? And I get it. When you have no other option, you will seek for something outside you, right? And I'm more of a spiritual person, but if we understood Bible, and at least if it depends on the Bible we are using, because if you go through the forbidden Bible, and I'm trying my best not to talk so deep, because when it comes to esoteric, I am quite grounded in that, and I'm trying to restrict what I'm saying because I know a lot of people, and I really don't want to rock your world, because if you've lived in bubble for years, I mean, I won't be the one to break the news for you, right? You go, you seek it, and it says in the Bible, right? To me, I feel like the Bible is a good map to direct us to things that have happened, to question things. And I feel like it is lack of intelligence. I feel like anyone who gives you words and tell you not to question them, the person is wicked, the person is insecure, the person don't deserve to hold any form of power, any form of authority in your life. And if this is what you think it is, then you should question where you're coming from. And I believe that Christianity helps you to be sane. Why not do it? And I feel like some people, it helps them. Some people, if they don't attach to religion, they'll be so chaotic, and they might be brutal. So sometimes it helps keep them insane. But a lot of times, especially when you go to Pastor Fatoyibo,
you have to be rounding up.
Okay, I will just round up in a second. If you look at it, when it comes to Pastor Fatoyibo, you see that sometimes these are politics, right? This is a man who has the track record of rape, and let's not even limit it to that, because there are different pastors who have done some things and they use God to back themselves, and somehow the church members made the excuse that the pastors, the devil only had the pastor's address, so he was tempted, as if human beings can be tempted, right? And they supported the man of God, right? So sometimes when we look at this honestly, and I know sometimes it might be jabbing to our heart and our consciousness, but sometimes you just need to step back and ask your question: why am I so attached to this? Why do I believe in this? What am I really defending? Thank you. I'm done. I have a lot to say, but time is not on my side. So thank you. I yield the floor.
Thank you.
Please, I want to say something.
Okay, so I'll add it to responses. So once I need one more response.
No, maybe
so
I'd like to respond.
Who?
I'm not responding to Miss Amaka. I heard someone. I want to respond to Apocrypha. I know someone was mentioning Apocrypha.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was me, but I didn't finish my submission.
Okay. So wait, hold on.
Wait.
The people that want to respond to Miss Amaka is Dudu and Rotam. So you have just 30 seconds each, but before you two go ranting, say what you want to say about the Apocrypha.
Okay, yeah. From what I got, it's like the person was trying to say the Apocrypha gives better context. The problem with the Apocrypha is you want to use the Apocrypha to defend what those scriptures of Deuteronomy said, but there are Apocryphas that don't put Jesus Christ in good light. I hope you will bring that too in context, where Jesus was being an asshole. That's all I ask of you. If you are going to try to bring in the Apocrypha, let's bring in everything, both the good and the madness. So if you want to do Apocrypha, you just get things messed up. So I just give you that advice to caution. That's all.
Okay, thank you. So the next person to speak is going to be I keep saying your name wrong. I'm sorry. Dudu, you go ahead.
Sorry, Iyiwa. I was blinking. I wanted to speak to respond to Miss.
Okay. I've already picked 2 people already, but next one I will put you in there. So 30 seconds, Miss Dudu, and who else was the second person that was after her? Rotham. It was Rotham. 30 seconds, guys. 30 seconds. I'm literally.
So my response is to what I don't know whether it's a new or ranting, but one of the moderators said that we're looking at it verbatim as to how things were described in the Bible versus. I think that's not fair, right? If that's where we want to steer the conversation, then it's not fair because, like I said at the very beginning, we're analyzing ancient creativity with modern views, which is appropriate. How is it affecting our lives? Because it's affecting our lives. Because somebody comes here to say God said something. So we are not analyzing verbatim. We're just looking at how this thing affects us in 21st century. If we want to take that conversation in that area, I think that's the fair way to do it. Trying to win an argument, I believe that's not a fair thing to do. I think we should just think about how it affects our lives. I'll give you a quick example. I was traveling from Gwagwalada, I think that's where the university is, to town. And this gentleman went on a bus. There were about 50 to 100 people on the bus. And he stood up and wanted... that's what he wanted to preach. And the bus driver says, no, you can't do that. This was early morning, people are going to work. And the bus driver said, you can't do that on my bus. And the guy wouldn't listen. So we spent about 15 minutes trying to argue. Now the lady sat next to me. I said, look, can he just shut up? And the lady said, oh, it's the Spirit of God leading him. These are the things you have even seen on this stage. There's somebody is coming to say God. No, that is not fair on us. It's not fair on the masses. People were on that bus who had interviews that morning. It will have affected their lives. So this is what we're saying. This thing, we need to analyze it in a very, very fair way, how it's affecting our lives. It's not about winning an argument. If it's about winning an argument, you guys need to keep refreshing this room so that some of us who are here and concerned about the people can leave. Than if this thing is about winning an argument. Please, can we be guided about this? Because that's my understanding. But I'm happy to wait for Thubore. Please, it's not about winning an argument. It's about the people. How is this thing affecting us mentally, socially, and intellectually? I believe that's why we're here. Thank you.
I don't think that's why we're here. We're here to
determine... I'll get the fuck out then, because you guys... we
are here to give God glory.
Exactly. I'll get the fuck out if that's what you're going to do, because I've been here... Hold on a minute.
Dude, don't go anywhere. What nonsense?
Because I've been here for 4 weeks constantly supporting Tobore with this, and this is about the way that...
So, back to what I was saying.
This is where Nigerians are...
So, back to what I was saying, right? So...
period.
This is what I was saying. So... Guys, you have to understand, is the God of the Old Testament still the God of the New Testament? If your answer is
yes, a great God forever.
Tala, please, I don't want to move you. Does God exist outside the constraint of time? Does he live outside that? That means does God live in the sense that he sees both the future, the past, and the present all at the same time? That then is yes. If your answer to that question is yes, then we have to follow what is done back then. Because God, in his infinite wisdom, because we are having this conversation with the mindset that God actually exists. So if God exists and he has these parameters of being an infinite God with an infinite wisdom and all-powerful God, that means we should be able to judge him by any standard, because as an omniscience God, he should know that such standards would come, and his actions should be in reverence to such standard. So if God is the God of the Old Testament and is still the same God that the Christians are coming on today, I can use today to judge the God of yesterday, because your God, or whoever God you people are claiming to worship, exists outside the constraints of time. So time should not be used as a box to box your God in. Time doesn't work for him. So if time doesn't work for your God, I'm not going to use time to restrict my own argument.
Yeah,
and that is on that.
Yeah, please,
can I go now? Can I go now?
Please,
Please, let me go, please. Let me go, please.
Rotam, you have...
Hello.
Hold on.
Anyone, where am I on the list, please?
You are PTR. We are doing PTR order. So
what she was saying.
So after you ranting, Rotam, you have 30 seconds.
Yeah, what
after
you said. You say we are here to talk. We should be talking about how it affects people's lives, but we are here to have arguments. Now, the reason for these quote unquote arguments is to question and challenge the beliefs of believers, because believers ask this thing that why do atheists always like to make noise about a God they don't believe exists? The reason why we do this is because you Christians exist and your God exists in your mind as real. And beliefs inform actions. Actions have consequences on society. We live in the same society. So we cannot sit down and watch you ruin our lives with your beliefs. That is why we go ahead to question your beliefs. And people who are listening, we give points, we give counterpoints. And people who are listening, we break it down in their own minds and be intellectually honest to make a decision whether to still remain Christians or atheists. Someone did this for me. I am here now, and I was intellectually honest to see that the Bible is too human to be a God that people we've been taught, giving us the propaganda since birth. The God of the Bible is a human creation, man-made. And that is it. So if you are bothered by we arguing and we doing counter, that is the whole point. It is to question beliefs, because beliefs inform actions. Actions are consequences on society, and we live in the same goddamn society. So thank you.
Can I go now?
Okay, hold on.
Christians
are blessed.
Let me go now, please. Everybody just hold on. Everybody hold on. Anyone, just take the cue.
Yes, Rotam has just 30 seconds to go, then we'll go back to the queue. Rotam, 30 seconds.
All right, thank you guys. I like that we're having this conversation. I'm a proponent of free speech. I defend it with all I have. First of all, let me make a clarification. I'm not an atheist because somehow believe my soul tells me there's a higher being. I don't identify as a... Let me please now stop interjecting, please. I also believe there's a higher being, but I don't identify as a religious person. So make my submission this way. The Bible, which I believe in, says that God he knows the beginning from the end and the end from the beginning, and we can't question some things he says.
Hold on, is this in response to Mr. Mark? I don't know whether people they hear what.
But that's why I'm responding now. Please, boss, you're actually the person.
Hold on.
This is
you're not going to tell me how to. I'm responding to her now, please.
What did she 30 say? Seconds. That's the point they're trying to make.
But you guys, you keep interjecting. You will not allow. You want me to respond? Please, you guys should please mute your mic and give the same people the same thing you want.
That he's not going to respond to Amaka speak.
I'm going to respond to Amaka. You're the person not allowing me
to.
Guys, please. Even if we don't agree with anyone, let them talk.
Hold on. Sorry, guys, please let's just have a civil discourse, right? I understand people might say things that might upset you, or people might say things that you are particularly unhappy with. Allow the person to finish. No interjection. See, if you are not meant to speak and you unmute your mic, I'll have to move you to the audience. So please, let's just have a civil discourse. So anyone, sorry, who's next, please?
Dami, thank you. Let me conclude, please. Thank you. Please, thank you. For Mr. Amaka, I don't think there's anything we will say about what is written or what is not written about God that will change anything about God. God will continue to be God to the end of time. That's who he will always be. But now let me go back. I'm using my 30 seconds, please. I like that we're having this conversation, and I believe there should not be any limit. That's one. The second thing is this. Why atheism actually is funny to me is that atheists spend so much time ranting about a God they don't believe in.
You see
and
what
they don't actually.
Please,
it's my 30 seconds. Allow me to use my 30 seconds. That's respecting my right.
Just imagine.
Guys.
Allow me to use my 30 seconds. It's my 30 seconds.
Hold on, guys.
It's 30 seconds.
Please, let him finish.
No,
but that is not fair because it's 30 seconds to report.
Wait, I understand.
Hold on.
Let him just end.
No. The response was.
Let me use my 30 seconds, please.
No, there's still a time for you to talk. You still have 3 minutes to talk later.
Exactly.
Dami, hold on.
Yeah.
The instruction was 30 seconds to respond to Miss Amaka. That's it.
He has
Have I used 30 seconds?
Okay,
Have I used 30 seconds?
Now, his 30
Rota, we'll
seconds
come
is
back to
up.
you. We'll come
We'll
back
now
to
move
you.
to the next person. Tope, go ahead. Thank you. Tope, it's your turn to speak.
But I didn't use my 30 seconds.
Rotam, can you just mute your mic, please?
Hello.
Yeah. Please go ahead.
Tope, go ahead, please. Thank you.
Okay, so
you guys are gagging people and say you're having conversation. It's not fair.
Audience, this idiot,
all right, can I talk?
Sorry, guys, please.
Yes,
sorry.
you can.
Yeah, you can.
All right, so as the Christians have been coming up, I'm going to come up like that. I'm a proud atheist. I don't believe a word in the Bible. I believe it's a lot of hogwash and bullshit. Now, being a Christian or an ex-Christian, I mean, we heard Bible verses from 1 Corinthians 14:33 saying, God is not the author of confusion, but of peace. Mark 10:18, no one is good except God alone. Hebrews 13:8 is the same yesterday, today, and forever. So why the hell are we saying this one is good? Why the hell are we arguing Bible verses? Your Bible verses should be timeless. Whether it is a man that wrote it or he was inspired by God, he's not an author of confusion, so his word should be clear. Let's not play semantics. I read English language. We are human beings. We understand body language. We understand inferred meaning. We understand direct sayings. So trying to gaslight us and say we don't understand or we didn't read the entire verse is hogwash. Is he a rape apologist? We can give you Bible verses from now till doomsday. But let us just go to like everyday churches. Why is there so much sexual, as if people will call it, sin in the church? Why is the church so hell-bent on covering all this shit up? If you can answer that, then maybe we can understand. In fact, you can't answer it, so let me not even go there. But he is a rape apologist because we know the Catholic Church. It is known for child molestation, and let's not even try to hide it. The Pentecostal Church, there are so many stories. If he's truly not an author, if he's truly is not an author of confusion, he should come down and sanction those men. We should not be trying to, explain these things away. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay.
Someone said we should argue.
Sorry, can you just hold on? Just hold on, please. So anyone who is next, please. I need someone that is a Christian or anyone. Is that how you're doing? Or
I'm a Christian. I raised up my hand.
Yes. So the next Christian on the queue is Seth. So Seth, you go ahead.
Sorry, please. When Seth is speaking, right? If you don't like what Seth is saying, please still mute your mic. If I see your mic, unmuted at any point, or you try and make any side comment to what Seth is saying, I will just move you to the audience. So please let Seth finish. We want to have a civil discourse. We want to have an objective conversation. So please let people finish.
Yes.
Seth, please go ahead.
And Seth, before you go, every Christian that is speaking is the title of the room is Was God in the Bible a Rape Apologist? It's either you say yes or you say no. If your answer is no, give us the reasons why you don't think God is.
You said no, you gagged us.
That is all.
Sorry, guys.
Just that simple.
Sorry, please.
No, Tala, no one is going to
sorry.
get gagged on the stage, right? So I'm not here to mod. I'm just here to restore order, right? So no one is going to be moved down. No one's going to be gagged. Every single person will have a chance to finish their submission. Did you guys move?
Yes.
Can y'all please?
No, I didn't move. I didn't move him. I don't know who did.
So hold on really quickly, Tala. Sorry. So yeah, we're not gonna gulag anyone. We're not gonna silence everyone. Everyone will have a chance to finish their submission uninterrupted. So I do want to clarify that. People will not be gagged if you say no. You can answer it the way you want.
Sorry, wait, hold on. So before you go ahead, now I said I will move people to the audience if they interrupt people who are speaking. Whether the person is a Christian and is saying, you're an atheist and you are upset with what the Christian is saying, I will move you to the audience. Whether it's an atheist that is speaking and you are upset because of what he's saying and you interrupt, please, I will move you to the audience. If you are not a mod, if you're not meant to speak, please just mute your mic. We want to have a civil discourse. Let us have the civil discourse. So please go ahead.
I'm sorry, Dami. I'm not interrupting.
They don't just,
I was speaking, I was muted, and that is the end of this.
No one muted you. You are not speaking. Seth, can you go ahead, please?
Sorry, Didon. I think you had an issue with your network at that point in time, but we'll just go ahead to Seth. We'll come back to you, okay? Seth, go ahead, please.
Okay, thanks. Well, I to reply to Ayiwa, I don't really think I can answer that question because I think that there's a problem. I think like the atheists have made really very sound, valid points, but I think that there's a conflation between the Bible as a text or as a text on its own, the Bible as a religious text, Christianity as a concept, Christians as a people, and then religion as a practice. So I think like we're conflating a lot of things. But if we're to stick to the fact that to analyze the text in the Bible, I think if we're to stick strictly to those particular parameters, I don't really think that it's even going to be yes, because I think another presupposition of the argument is that you are, the social construct of like that applies in our present social development era is really quite different from what was going on, ages back. I mean, if you go to the text in Deuteronomy, it is not God speaking; it's Moses. And Moses said, and this is also a very subjective experience. Moses said, because nobody saw it, Moses said he went to the top of the mountain where he spoke to God, just him, no one else. Came back. God gave him only 10 commandments, but Moses came and gave 146 commandments. But if we were to even speak on the concept of rape, in Deuteronomy 22, verse 26, if you had the patience to read a little bit further, Moses does say that if you rape a woman, then you should be put to death, because he likens it with the fact that if you take advantage of a woman, it's on the same level as killing a man. And so I don't really think that, we can have a lot of moral arguments about the text in the Bible, but I think that if you were to also argue that God is outside of our space, matter, and time dimension, then that means that you're claiming an objective plane that you yourself do not believe in. So if you do not believe that a plane like that exists, any other thing that claims objectivity in that plane cannot be questioned. Because if you're questioning rape apology, by text in the Bible, Mary, whether Mary gave her consent or didn't give her consent and all of this stuff. First things first, it was a different society back then. Children were being betrothed by 10, 12. It's very sad, but it was society, it was norm. The society accepted it. And right now we live in a different society era, distribution. And I think that that's the whole point of, updating our system of beliefs. And I think that even Jesus, the people who claim that they're Christians, when Jesus Christ came, he said that the law caused a lot of problems. But I'm telling you, the greatest command is love God, and the second to it is love your neighbor as you love yourself, period. So I think that the Bible, like every other sacred book, the Torah, the Quran, they all hold very valuable lessons. I don't think they portray God or the idea of a God in any negative length, in any negative light, but I do think that there were some very problematic things with the society and the people who wrote the Bible. But I don't think that substantiates the argument that God is a rape apologist, because by the text that you've quoted, God is not even speaking.
Okay, so I'm going to take two responses. I'm going to take the Don because he hadn't finished, and Azali will take. So two responses, 30 seconds. So, but before the Don goes, Seth, in the Bible, there are places where God explicitly gave commands to Moses to carry out. One being genocide and one being rape of the Midianite women. This was instructions by God directly to Moses. In fact, when the people of the Israelites saved women, they were condemned for saving the women. And that God gave them this explicit instruction to the 12,000 soldiers of the 12 tribes of Israel, 1,000 each from each tribe. Save for yourselves women that have met no man or have never slept with a man. And there were 32,000 of them, and they were kept as bounty for the conquering tribe of Israel. This was explicit instructions from God to Moses, thereby nullifying everything you just said. But the Don, your 30 seconds, and then Azili, your 30 seconds. The Don, go ahead.
Okay, as I was saying, you understand, it's, I think what's happening is people are using their modern day morals, you understand, human beings are fallible, to judge what happened in the what happened 1,000 years ago. And the Bible itself, you understand, it's a collection of books. Some of it was accepted, some of it wasn't, like I said about the Apocrypha. So except you've read everything, to actually say, okay, the ones that are accepted were accepted by human beings. Most of the books that you see right now was because of the Nicaea conference in 300 AD, after Jesus Christ had already gone. So there could be problems with the text, which is normal. So you can't use that text as as a reference point, even though a lot of people use it, because it may or may not be the original text that was intended for its use. So I think it's unfair. And usually people are saying, if you're going to use logic, you understand, since atheists like to believe that they're logical, you understand? Yeah, they live in a world where a lot of illogical things happen and they accept, you should accept that if there's nothingness, there should be everything. And then if there's everything, that means there's certain knowledge you don't know. I mean, it's just that simple. Anyway, thank you. I yield.
Okay, thank you. I don't know how that helped the conversation, but Azili, go ahead.
Anyway, I was supposed to go too, right?
Okay, so
Don't I get 1 minute to respond?
Oh, yes, you get
you
1 minute.
respond after the two people have said.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so what I do not appreciate is people trying to remove God from the Bible, trying to separate Yahweh from the Bible, because the only thing we know about Yahweh is what's said in the Bible. So you could say the Bible was written by people, and it's basically just people's accounts, but those people's accounts are literally all we have to go on about the existence of Yahweh and his principles. Now, it has been said here that there's a Bible passage that says God is the same yesterday, today, and forever, which means the God that was in the Old Testament is the same God in the New Testament and is the same God today. And so the things that he was okay with in the Old Testament are the same things he's okay with today, because he is the same person, or he's the same deity, whatever. You cannot say that those were the times, because if you're going to say that God knows everything, then God knew that these things that were happening in those times, like the marriage of 12-year-olds and impregnating them, for instance, he knew that those things were not particularly good. And a Christian earlier had said that basically we cannot, all of you have been saying that we cannot judge Yahweh by today's standards. So are you telling me that the people who are alive today are more moral than Yahweh? Because Yahweh was fine with all of this. The things Yahweh had issues with, he very clearly stated in the Bible. The entire chapters that are basically just Yahweh saying, don't do this, don't do this, do this. He was very clear about the things he wanted and the things he didn't want. And so there's no room for ambiguity here. If he wanted rape to be bad, he would have said, don't rape, when he was listing things as ridiculous as don't mix fabric. He had time to say, don't mix fabric. He had time to say, don't eat specific things, but he did not have time to say, don't rape women.
Oh. Actually,
so you cannot remove God from the Bible. That's what I'm saying. The Bible is there. The Bible is all we have for Yahweh. So we are looking at the Bible that were being presented. You cannot tell me that they removed some books. Well, Yahweh, when these books were being written, was in his whole smiting era. He could have very much have smitten anybody or smote everybody that was writing things he did not agree with. And so therefore, if you feel like Yahweh has all the power, and this book is what is presented as the absolute word of God, then Yahweh is fine with everything in the Bible.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Azzy. That was very, very sound. So, Seth, you just have a minute, and then after Seth, if
well, I think that didn't communicate properly, or the two speakers who responded to my point may have missed the total point of what I was trying to make. I was trying to say that it does say in the Bible that you should not rape. It's very clear. It's
What
Deuteronomy.
verse is that, Seth? Please let me check
Seth,
it.
you are wrong.
What verse is
Please, please hold on. Seth.
Oh, hold on, guys. Let him finish. Let him give us.
Please let Seth finish.
Guys,
Let Seth.
please,
If
let
I
him
see,
finish.
guys, if you're not a moderator, I don't know if I was a mod that interrupted, but
I was the one. I was asking if you could give us the verse so I can go and look at it. Could you give me the verse, Seth? Let me check it out.
That's which I made in my first point, but you probably weren't listening. Deuteronomy 22. I will if you let me speak. Deuteronomy 22. If you read from verse 24 to 26, it gives one instance. If you go to Judges, I really can't remember. It does give another instance. If you go to in the days of Ruth and Naomi, if you go read the instance, there's another instance there. This is only in the Hebrew text where it specifically says that if a man should take advantage of a woman on the street or anywhere, he should be put to death. But I guess that point was missed. But my point that I was trying to make was that even if there was no instance, right, the society in which the Israelites and the Canaanites and the Midianites, all those people in present-day Ethiopia and the Middle East, they lived a totally different. The norms, things that were accepted, were different. And this is the problem when when you read a text. I personally am not a religious person, but I have read the Bible from Genesis to Revelations, and I think that if in Genesis humans disconnect from God, and it's all attempts of people trying to connect back to God, and I think that when you take away a couple of verses away from a context, you present a wrong information. So, it's a really complex thing to explain, but I'm done.
Yeah, please let me. Please, I want to correct something, Seth. What Seth? I will not let that go. This Deuteronomy shit. Let me read it so that he will say we are removing 24. You said, you shall take both of them to the town. No, let's do 23. If a man happens to meet a young town virgin, pledged to be married and is slaves with her, you shall take them both to the gates of that town and stone them to death. The young woman, because she was in the town and did not scream for help. The man, because he violated another man's wife. Do you see the clause? Another man's wife, you must purge them of evil. So both of them, they were knocking. Now 25. But if you are in the country of a man who happens to meet a young woman, pledged to be married, and he rapes her, only the man who has done this shall die. Do nothing to the woman. She has committed no sin deserving death. This is the case like that of someone who attacks and murders a neighbor. For the man found the young woman out in the country, and though the betrothed woman screamed, there was no one to rescue her. 28. If a man happens to meet a young virgin who is not pledged to be married, and he rapes her, and they are discovered, he shall pay her father 50 shekels. He must marry the young woman, for he has violated her. He cannot divorce her for as long as he lives. These two scenarios, one woman is married, the other one is not married. Sin against the man, sin against her father. And the father was paid, the husband was paid in blood. I don't understand what Seth is saying that God is condemning rape. But all of them are supposed to die. If God is really condemning rape, I don't get that.
Yeah, I don't really get how you interpreted it also, because it's pretty clear that if you take advantage of a woman...
Okay, we are done with you.
It is clear that if you take advantage, advantage of a man's property, you are doomed to death.
Okay,
no, hang on. It says there that if you take advantage of a woman who is pledged to be married, specifically, who is pledged to be married, you will be killed, because that is somebody else's woman. Then if you take advantage of the one that is still very much available, then you will pay her father for this sin that you have committed against him, and you will marry her. Now, I do not know about you, but if somebody rapes me, and then like my father goes, okay, he has paid me, so you would marry him for the rest of your life. Like, I feel like that's a lot worse than just letting him go. So I don't know why you think that this means that Yahweh was, against rape or anything. All Yahweh is about is founding another man's
property. Let's move on. Seth is another level. I don't get it.
It's called cognitive dissonance. And Ife Dalapo, it's your turn. Thank you for being patient. Finally, it's your turn, Ife.
Hi guys, good afternoon. And I don't really have much to say, but I will say this. When people are trying to separate the whole, God wasn't this and he did not say this and that and that and that. We have to recognize something. The Bible was written, they say it was written for the inspiration of men and it was influenced by the Holy Spirit, who I don't know how it works. I would not want to, represent Christian because I'm an atheist. It's supposed to be like one with God or, God represented and, all that shit. However, once you have established the fact that God cannot change, he says in his words that, if he has said it, he will do it and blah, 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 blah. You have instances in the Bible where God was having conversations with people, men. Let me just put it that way so that we can, separate that. Where men were having conversations and God allowed them to have their say. Where God said, okay, what do you want? If I see this, maybe we'll consider this. However, when the angel approached Mary, it was a prophecy. And people always think she said she consent. She did not fucking consent. First of all, prophecies are not a conversation. This is what is going to happen. You can't really, like, whether you say yes or no, it is going to happen. If I tell you that, because I can see the future, tomorrow you are going to die. If you tell me no, what is going to happen? Like, is that supposed to change, whatever it is that has been said? Like, so the whole thing about, and the reason why I brought up God and Mary as opposed to the Deuteronomy is because this is a case of rape that God was actively involved in. When people are always like, oh, let's bring out Deuteronomy, it's not like, you can't really say God was really, really involved in it. So, you have people who come and say, Moses said this, or, people wrote that. But if we now bring a story where God, who in his infinite wisdom, infinite perspective, infinite strength, his transcendence, he knows the beginning from the end. He knows his wisdom is supposed to surpass, his foolishness is supposed to surpass the wisdom of men, has decided that I know that rape is wrong. I know that exploiting people are wrong. These people are foolish. Their wisdom cannot even compare to my own foolishness. And here we are saying that even in our wisdom, we recognize that it is wrong for you to say that, a 14-year-old is here and you just decide that whether she likes it or not, you're going to give her a child. I don't know what that's it. It's either one of two things. Either the fact that God is wise is a big fat lie, or your God is wise and decided that because of during that time the people did not have the perspective to attain that level of wisdom, he was going to exploit that, which just says that he is wicked. And that's all I'm going to contribute. So in the end, I'm just going to say that if you want to hold your God to a standard, hold him by that standard. Don't now come and say that okay, God is infinitely wise and shit like that, and then now come and say, but in that time he decided that he was going to do this to somebody. If he was infinitely wise and infinitely gracious, he wouldn't have done that shit. So thank you very much. That's all I have to say.
Thank you so much. And if God was wise, he would have found a way to bring Jesus without human involvement. Anyways,
let me
two responses.
Let me do a quick reset after the responses. 1 second.
Okay, yeah, do your reset.
Wait, can y'all hear me or is my phone not working?
Yeah, we can hear
you. Can hear you.
Okay, let me do a quick reset after the responses, please.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. So, Dr. Didapo, I will take you, and I'm going to take one person that hasn't spoken before.
Can I speak this
I think I raised my hands.
Who hasn't spoken? You're going to be next in a few. So I just need someone that hasn't spoken before.
I haven't spoken.
Can I respond? Anyone?
It's just
take Gary.
Okay, Gary. 30 seconds. This is 30 seconds, guys. This is not your initial submission, and it has to be in respect to what Ifedolapo said.
Yeah.
So it's going to be Dr. Debrapo. You have 30 seconds, and then Gary.
All right, thanks. So I'll be buttressing the Fedolapo and at the same time responding to Seth in 30 seconds. So first of all, you need to understand that we are not having a debate about the social ethics in two different times. We are not comparing societies or social norms in pre-modern times and modern times. So it is disingenuous to say that, oh, well, the norms of these modern times is actually different from the norms of the people back then. That's not the point. Right now, that said, you still cannot, detach God from the social ethics of the people of those, of that particular time. The reason is that God was actually anthropomorphized, so he had a material existence, and people at that time believed that he informed their ethical stances, positions, cultural norms, and practices. He gave directions. He told people what to do and what not to do. Right. So that said, we can definitely analyze the role of God in terms of how rape was actually either criminalized or punished or even accepted in that particular social context. And that's exactly what we are doing. And if you believe that God had a role to play in informing people, laying down laws and telling people what to do and what not to do, of course, we can definitely say that God had a role to play in people's cultural attitude towards rape. So this whole idea that we should separate God from, the ethical views or philosophy of the people of that time is just ridiculous.
Thank you for your submission, Dr. Adigbo. Yeah, Gary, go ahead.
Yeah, just in response to that, basically, Jesus came through, okay,
but your network.
That means that it's a recognition. It's a recognition.
Gary, your network is bad.
Are you hearing me?
Okay, it's a bit better now. So you have 30 seconds.
Okay. Yeah, I was saying, just the way Jesus came on the earth, it's the full human experience, right? Being born of a woman, that is the beginning of all life, as opposed to the way Adam and Eve came on. But God recognized, this is my opinion, that in order for Jesus to bring forth what he was trying to show us how to live, he had to go through the entire human experience from beginning to end. This whole thing, that the way he was manifesting, the beginning, people are coming that to a kind of a forceful situation onto a woman. I'm trying to use my words very carefully. So I do not see it is basically the whole huge of the power of woman.
Okay, but
the point that he plays as a woman, and so on.
Yeah, Gary, you are in the matrix. Sorry, Gary, you're in the matrix.
Yeah. Thank you.
Next, because I'm confused at what you're saying. But
you had no bearing on anything that was just said right now.
Sorry. Yeah, if you
you have a minute. Yes, if you a minute.
Okay. You're talking about human experience. Human experience. A guy fucks a woman fucks a man, and she brings a baby into the world. There is nothing humane. There is non-humane. There's nothing human about being possessed by some spirit and then having a child. That is not human. Like that's, if God is supposed to be, if you're going to represent God without definition, I don't think that is the route you should be going, because there was nothing human about his birth. In short, the reason why we see Jesus as a sort of divine being is because his conception was not human. So there's nothing human about that. Thank you.
Yeah, I wasn't talking necessarily about the
Thank you. No.
We're not asking you to, Gary, hold on a second. We're not asking you to respond, right? So just hold on. We'll get to you when it's time. Anyone, please.
Okay. Was that the last response?
Yes, that was the last.
You can do the reset for me.
Okay, awesome. All right. Thank you guys for joining the space. If you're not already following the club, please go ahead and follow the space if you are not already. This club, the way that we have it, we sort of just want it to be like a space. So you can kind of just create whatever space you want to create in the club. So it is a club inside of a club, essentially. So Tobere opened this room this morning because she wanted to have this conversation. And I think it's been a great conversation. The total count of spinoff rooms that I have seen in the hallway that have been created off of this room now is up to 5. So shout out to the shout out to the fans. Shout out to the fans. Shout out to the haters. We personally believe there was nothing wrong with this conversation. We did hear in the beginning of the conversation there were several people who felt like they were being muted, that their voice wasn't heard. So we did want to make sure that there's no gulagging, no interruptions. Everyone will have a chance to speak, whether you're an atheist, whether you are a traditionalist, whether you are a Christian, Muslim, whatever your religion is or lack of religion, it will be respected on the stage. The only thing we ask is that you do not interrupt anyone when they're speaking. We will have to move you down if you do interrupt. So let's just be respectful of everyone's opinion, everyone's thoughts. But this has been a great conversation so far. If you do want to make a statement on Twitter and you're not comfortable coming on stage, you can use the hashtag the space CH. That's hashtag the space CH to join the conversation on Twitter. So yeah, once again, follow the club, follow your mods, more specifically Tobere and the Ranting Atheist. They did sort of spare off the room. And then you can follow anyone else on stage that you align with or you don't. So yeah, thanks.
Can I respond? I mean,
can't respond.
Hold on a second. I have a question for the person resetting, please. It's a procedural question, please. Can we get a little bit more of a reset? What topic is currently being discussed? Because it seems as if Gary was responding to something else and the moderator said, hey, we need to reel you in. So can you just please tell us what topic is currently being discussed? Is it the topic in the title or something else?
The title. And Gary was speaking in response to Ife Dolapo, but his response was not coincided with the original comment that she made. That is why we wanted to go over him. So now, according to Tobere, the way we are running this is one atheist, one Christian, or one religious person. So Ife Dolapo is an atheist. I'm sorry if I'm making that assertion, but I think she's anti-Christian, to say the least. Now the next person is going to be Sir Jude. Sir Jude is a Christian. So Sir Jude, you have the floor.
Yeah, I just wanted to respond though, but
please, sorry guys, sorry, hold on. Please, when Sajud is speaking, please, nobody should interrupt Sajud, right? You may not like what he says, but it is very important you allow him to make his point. He has 3 minutes to make his submission. Please do not interrupt him. He's going to be concise. If you are not happy with what he's saying, wait till it's time for responses. Then we'll take responses to what you're saying. Please do not interrupt Sajud in this conversation. Sajud,
yeah, Demi, I'm actually scanning the stage. So if I do see you unmute, even if you just unmute to breathe, I will move you down. So go ahead.
All right, thank you. Sajud, please.
Thank you very much, brothers. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I am a Christian, and I don't claim ownership to that title. I am not the only Christian that is on stage. Most people on stage are Christians, but they may not know that they are Christians. Both atheists, both agnostics. I consider most of you that have spoken here today as Christians, as what we know as anonymous Christian. I'm talking from a theological perspective. So I just want to define that term before we go into it. Because a Christian is a person that lives his life according to the dictate of his conscience. It does not matter which church that you go. It's irrelevant if you're baptized. But when you're baptized and align with a Christian denomination, then you become an explicit Christian. Some of you believe in fairness, you believe in charity, you believe in treating one another as yourself, you believe in love of nature and love of human being. That makes you a Christian. That's Christ-like. Whether you align with the Catholic Church or with the Presbyterian is irrelevant. That's when you become an explicit Christian. So that's done. Welcome aboard, Christians. And I encourage what you are doing, because even the God of the Bible has said, come, let us reason together. As long as we are looking for this discourse with the intention to learn, because a lot of us are not exposed to the understanding, to the teachings. So we are speaking according to our own level of knowledge. So I will not cut you for that. But when we are doing that, let's be a little bit very careful, because some of the things that we are doing might be triggering, especially like the work that we are using today as rape. When you use rape and you use God in the same sentence, that might be triggering for some people. But that aside, God of the Bible did not and does not encourage rape, or he is not a rape apologist. He has made that clear with his 10 Commandments. Specifically, people have said a lot about the Immaculate Conception of the Virgin Mary, which is where I want to start with this. Virgin Mary, regardless of her age, that's debatable. But we know, according to the tradition of that time, that she was of the age of marriage, according to the prevailing custom of that time, in a patriarchal society. But one thing that is significant, when Gabriel came to Mary, Gabriel did not impose the will of God on Mary. Gabriel explained the intention of God to Mary. And it's because of what Mary said, which has been linked as an act of faith. Let it be done to me according to your words. That is consent. Without that consent, the world would not have been the way that it is today. Because it's that consent that brought about Christ. It is that consent that brought about the church. It is that consent that brought about evangelization, that brought about schools, that translate into the modern technologies and advancement that we have today. It is that consent that made all of us here on the stage today to be exposed to education that was reserved.
30 seconds more.
Thank you. That was reserved only to the elite of the time. So just that concept. Now, when we go and we use some other biblical context to justify or to try to postulate that God is a rape apologist, put it in context. Human beings have been living their life, making their laws, and God has been intervening, sometimes by destruction, sometimes by corrections. But you get to a point where he said, you know what, enough is enough. This is my law. So if you could come up here and say that the 10 Commandments, that there is a way you could link that 10 Commandments, which is the law of God, to being apologetical to rape, then we have an issue. We could discuss that. But with what you're saying is not linked by the 10 Commandments, then we may have to re-examine our approach to that issue. So I'm here to listen to whatever that you have to say to support that your understanding of God is a rape apologetical God.
Thank you so much, Sir Jude. Thank you so much for that submission. I'm sure there are a lot of people. Anyway, take your two comments. Yeah.
Tenny hasn't spoken before, and Daddy O hasn't spoken before. So we're going to take Tenny and Daddy O. Those are the two. So Jude, I just have one question to ask you, sir. I don't know if you have a daughter, but let us say you had a 13-year-old niece. Would you okay her having sexual contact with a 50-year-old man? Yes or no?
Absolutely
yes
not. And that
absolutely
is not what
not.
happened. No, that is not what happened.
That's
because
not
when
what
you're
happened.
talking about, yes, let me tell you why you're
No.
And you want to say
Give me 1 second.
no
Give me 1 second, please. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. When you use the word rape, that's why I told you that it's very triggering. When you use the word rape, especially what we are talking about is rape. The context here is rape. The caption is rape, and what the insinuation that you made is rape. But when you try to attribute that to the Immaculate Conception, then I will have you to define rape. You cannot define rape without physical touch and penetration. That is not what happened here.
Sir Jude, that is not the question
hold on, guys. Hold on, guys.
Hold on. Simple question.
Hold on,
You're
guys.
making it complicated. Sorry for interrupting, but
yeah. Sorry, guys. So, Saju, just hold on a second, right? So, would take your responses after the people Tenny and Daddy O, speak. So Tenny will have 30 seconds to ask you the question. Daddy O will have another 30 seconds. Then we'll now give you some time to respond to those questions. So Tenny, please go ahead.
Thank you. Sir Jude, I hope I don't sound disrespectful during my my response. I've heard a lot of crazy things in this room today. However, my biggest problem with what you've said is you're still using. I have a problem when Christians, like Bible-believing Christians as they call themselves, try to use their belief system and the Bible to justify things that we are speaking about on a factual basis. You're saying that like the concept of the Immaculate Conception is why we have technology today, education. It has nothing to do with. In the West here, when religion reigned free and supreme, was when they went through the Dark Ages. They burnt scientific evidence, scientific progression. They burnt evidence of a lot of things that we probably will never ever get back, all in the name of a crusade for some God they've never seen, never touched, never. It's a concept. I find it it is troubling what you've just said now. You've just connected a concept to things that people actually achieved. That's my biggest problem with your submission now, and I think it's completely false. You should be careful the way you apply what you believe to things that actually happened. That's all I have to say. I yield my mic.
Thank you so much. Daddy-O?
Hi guys. Well, Tenny's pretty much said everything I was going to say. The assertion that we have what we have today in terms of technology and technological advancements is because of the consent, which we've argued today it wasn't really consent because she was a minor. There's just so many strawman fallacies going about. When you talk about technology, the church, the body of the church, was one of the biggest hindrances to the advancement of technology. I don't know if people are familiar with Galileo. At the time, the church, would say that the Earth was the center of the universe. Well, he came up with his heliocentric theory that asserted that, the Earth revolved or circumnavigated the sun. And for that, he was imprisoned for life. So when you talk about technology, you want to try and claim that Christianity is, or the foundation of Christianity by Mary getting pregnant is the foundation of all technology today. It makes no sense in any way, shape, or form. That's just a lot of, mental gymnastics or cognitive distortion, as you want to put it. It's just, I'm sorry, that's just absolute crap. It's nonsense.
Okay, thank you.
This is Otis.
Can I speak? Hold on, guys. Everybody, hold on. I created a system here, right? Tobore wanted one atheist, then one Christian. And in between those submissions, you're going to have two responses. So we will get to everybody, right? We'll get to everybody, I promise. So, nice thing, Daddy O. I guess the person that made the steam engine got a vision from Jesus Christ. Sir Jude, you have 1 minute to respond.
Okay. All right, let's put everything in a historical perspective, okay? Because sometimes we talk out of emotions and we don't support them. Now, my position is this, and you can research it if you want. Without the church, the world will not be the way that it is today. Before Jesus Christ of Nazareth, there was no schools. People, the elites, are the ones that get educated. Those are the ones that hire people like Galileo, people like Socrates and all whatnot to teach their kids at home. That's how they maintain power. That's how they pass over economic and political power to their seers and to their offsprings. And that's how families become dynasties. We know that. Okay? So that's why you have the oligarchs and you have the peasants. The oligarchs will become oligarchs forever, and their families and the peasants will always become peasants forever. Right? So all those things change by Jesus Christ of Nazareth. When he commissioned his disciples, go along, go throughout the whole world and enlighten the world and teach the whole nation, be the light of men. So you see people like the church, the Jesuits priests, and you see people like Ignatius Loyola. They opened up schools. They're going into rural places. They're building up schools, and they're bringing in the populace, and people start getting educated. That's how people, commoners like me and you, was able to be exposed to schools.
Okay, thank you so much.
And that's what led to the modern development due to cooperation and due to education and research. So that's historical.
Sorry, give me 1 minute. I tried to.
Yeah.
So sorry, guys. Hold on, guys. Sorry. So I just think, like, when we're saying things, that we are claiming to be factual, we should actually get our facts right. So, like, there were actually universities in Egypt, and there were learning centers where people used to go to way before Christianity in Egypt. So this schooling system in Egypt was 40 years. That's where all your Greek philosophers went to, and none of them actually finished from any of those schools. So when it comes to Socrates, when it comes to Pythagoras, all of them schooled in Egypt, which was those schools had been existing way before the time of Christianity. So I think, when we say things like this, we should actually be careful with what we say, because we can't be just bringing misinformation here. I just think that's actually factually incorrect.
Just
so
propaganda.
Please.
Yeah, thank you.
Can I speak?
Hold on, guys. There's a queue, guys. Please. Oh my God. The next person.
Otis.
Yeah, Otis. I'll put Otis in the list. Everyone on stage is on the list by default. So the next person is Adebu. And if you see, I'm doing PTR. The next person is Adebukola. She's next to speak. And Adebukola, you have 3 minutes to speak. Thank you.
All right, thank you, AUR. Thank you. The first thing I'll just have to address the topic straight up. Was God in the Bible rape apologist? I think maybe the most taste in this room are thinking we are trying to differentiate the God of the Bible and the God of today. They're actually the same thing. And maybe that is why most of them come up to think they can defend this God. Because it's just annoying. After bringing up several verses in this fictional book of theirs with obvious facts and evidences, it saddens me that they still come up to defend such things. Now let's link the God of this Bible into this same rape scenario. Somebody was saying God is not a rape apologist because of one definition. If you are to define who a rape apologist is, it's someone who defends a rapist. And yes, this God actually defends a rapist. Abi, when a rapist is finished doing a sin, and you are telling the rapist to go and pay the father of the child that was raped is that supposed to be a thing? Is that supposed to be a thing? You told the rapist to go ahead and pay the father of the child. How is that something that is hard? It's not as though it's going to regret doing what it did after doing that. In it, or when when a child is about to be raped, and they call this God an omnipotent God. He's supposed to be everywhere. Is it this God that is it that the God is a psychopathic God or a maniac God that is going to be in a rape scene and is it that what is in his head is it that saying the rapist should finish doing what he's doing, and then after the rapist is done, I'm going to do something about it? Or let me just don't allow this scenario to happen. So how are you saying a God isn't a rape apologist if he's right there when the rape is happening, and he couldn't do anything to the rapist in hurting the child, the little child? Or let's just say it's a scenario of a little child, because we've actually seen most scenario where a little girl is being raped. We are not even talking about older women now. Let's even come to the list of saying a little child is being raped. How can a God be omnipotent and be present where a child is being raped and couldn't do anything about it? So he's saying once the rapist is done, then I'm going to do something about it. Even though let's see this. The Bible says if you get born again, all sins are passed away. So you are telling me that When this rapist is finished, he will come to you and he proclaim your fucking Lord, I don't know, your Lord with his mouth. His sins are going to be washed away. What the fuck is that? I don't just understand. Because I don't understand why people keep on coming up here and they are trying to defend this maniac of a God. Fine, it's fictional. Atheists do not believe in those things, but we just want you to see the absurdity of your beliefs. We just want to use your brain to think. It's that simple. You just have to be logical in your
30
thinking.
seconds.
All right. Thank you. I think I'm going to stop with this. And somebody was talking about homosexuality the other time. I don't know. He's saying homosexuality is a choice. I don't know where he read that, and he seems to be an intellectual. I don't know where you read homosexuality is a choice. When you say homosexuality is a choice, do you have a research to that? You can't just come up stage and be spewing jargons. You have to talk with facts. You coming up stage and saying homosexuality is a choice is totally wrong. It's totally wrong. And please do not pass that absurdity to the next generation. I yield my mic. Thank you.
Thank you. Before anyone goes, I want to, if you're a Christian, please flash your mic. So I'll update it, my Christians that haven't spoken. Christians that haven't spoken. So
I'm
Uncle,
a Christian. I haven't spoken. Otis.
I got you, Otis. Uncle, who else is a Christian here? Josiah, that's a very Christian name. Desi is a Christian. Who else? Who else is a Christian that haven't spoken? Rainbow and Bede. Okay. So I'm doing this just to, have the Christian atheist dialogue, going. So, okay, then the two 30-second responses to what Adebukola has said.
Hey, can I ask a question?
Okay, hold on. Let me just get the two responses first, and I'll get to your question. So, two responses to Adebukola. Okay, Desi and who else? Okay, just Desi. 30 seconds.
Thank you, Ewa. And thanks, Adebukola, for your comment. I give my thoughts when I get to plan. But I just
Desi's muffled. It's hard to hear her.
Desi, it's hard to hear you. Yeah, you're kind of muffled.
Is it better now?
Yeah, so much better now.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks, Adebukola, for your comments, and I'll give my thoughts later on. But I just wanted to point out something, as much as you want us to respect you, and I do respect you, and I respect everybody, even though we have different beliefs, I also think that respect is reciprocal. So, okay, honey, I think it's so important that even though you don't believe in the God that we serve, you don't need to call him names, right? So saying he's a maniacal God, and using the F word and all of that, out of respect for the people that actually love this God, don't call him names. That's the only thing I'm going to say in response to you, but thank you.
Thank you.
I disagree with that, but let's move on.
This is Otis. May I respond quickly in 30 seconds?
Okay, Otis,
Please.
30 seconds.
Right, so I'm a Christian. And I understand that we all practice our faith differently, but there is something that I want to put on the table. If we believe God is as powerful and as wise as he says he is in his word, that we accept as truth, then we need to understand that God can defend himself and does not need us to defend him.
Thank you.
His character, it has already been established. We don't need to defend him. The other thing that I need to point out is that the God that we claim to love made it very clear that he wants people to accept him out of their own volition, not be by force. So if somebody does not want to believe in God and accept God as real, and that person wants to call God's names, let the person do it.
Mm-hmm.
God doesn't need you to be his soldier, his advocate. He doesn't. He doesn't need me. He doesn't need you. Let him be God and let people speak freely. If God needs to do something, he will. But we shouldn't be trying to force people to accept a view of God that they do not want, because that is antithetical to who he is. I'm done.
Thank you for that, Otis. Thank you very much. So, Uncle, Your time is here. Finally.
I did.
Your time is here. Shine like a diamond.
Sorry, I thought I'm supposed to respond to something. 1 minute.
Okay, 1 minute. That is true. Uncle Bele. Adebukola, go ahead. 1 minute.
All right, thank you so much. I just want to respond to the lady that came up a few minutes ago. Why I called your God psychopathic or maniac, and I will continue doing that until I finish my enjoyment on this earth and leave. I'll continue doing that. If you, as a human, you have a power, but let's use a masculine man. He has this power. He is muscular, and he was supposed to be in a room. And a little child is being raped by a rapist. If this man who is muscular has been tested, is okay. The thing is okay. Upstairs is very, very much alive. Is fine. Is healthy. If this man cannot defend that child, if he's there, he's just there watching the scene of the scenario where the raping is happening. If you think that man is going to be considered a psychopathic, because he couldn't do anything at that moment, and he had the power to do that. If you think that word is right for that man, you should also think that word is going to be used for an omnipotent God who is present at the rape scene. Thank you.
Praise the Lord.
That's on that.
Praise the Lord.
Uncle, your time to shine.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, wait. Uncle, hold on. Miss, what is your question? Sorry, Bele. What's your question, Miss?
Yeah, my question is, since this is divided between Christians and atheists, what about spiritualists? Because I feel like some of us, especially when most of the sufferings and the burning of witches on the stake or fake ones, just because they practice science and question some Christians who were looking for excuse to extort lands, right? I feel like somehow spiritualists who have their journey also deserve to speak, since we are trying to be fair. So what?
Okay, so the thing is, Miss, fair critique. The problem is that we are being particular on the God of the Bible. But if you have any other approach towards the God of the Bible, that is fine. That is the reason why we're not talking about the Muslim God or the God of the Torah, right? So the conversation is being restricted towards the God in the Bible. But we welcome everything. If you have a different approach to it, please, at your time, go ahead and bless us with it. So
yeah, and you are. I have to say, the person that opened this room wanted to have a specific conversation about the God in the Bible.
Yeah.
So if you're not willing to have the conversation about the God in the Bible, then I would maybe suggest you can open your own room towards the specific way that you want to have the conversation, right? But the scope of this conversation is regarding the God in the Bible. Now, if your response to the question has to do with whether you're coming from a traditional standpoint, right? Like me, I come from a traditional perspective, right? To answer the question, because we realize that the Bible is used to actually inform the way we live our lives, then yeah, that's definitely fine, right? But the question of the room is the question of the room, and that's the scope of the conversation.
Thank you for that. So, Uncle, once again, is your time.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Can you guys hear me well?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. For me, I'll say I'm a Christian first, and most importantly, I believe in God. But I don't get too agitated by these kind of questions raised by atheists, because it's easy to raise these questions because there are loopholes everywhere in Christianity, not just Christianity, in religion. So, but what I think the atheists are doing is that they are, even Christians do it too. They are somehow confusing religion with God, right? That book you see, that whatever book you see, but now the book in question is the Bible, right? And I see we're making references to the Torah, right? That's the Old Testament. This book is, look at it from a perspective of a history book. And that history book is just made up of one basic thing, politics. That Old Testament is a book of politics, right?
The thing is that most people that you see there as that the Bible refers to as prophets, you can also refer to them as reformists or revolutionaries, right? These are people that, looked at the situation of things and felt they weren't good enough. And then they began to mobilize their people, and their people began to get inspired by what they say. They had their private times where they communicated with what seemed to them to be like, an external inspiration. Sometimes in the Bible, you hear it to be like an angel, or sometimes it might be said to be God. But, they put down these things, and what they put down to become laws are then spiritualized by their followers, and, different things happen from there. What am I trying to say? I'm trying to say, like, for example, we're trying to criticize God because of, people used to rape in the Old Testament, and he instructed that, they should marry, the rapist should be allowed to marry the raped. Now, what I want to point out is that you must look at it from the angle of, you must look at it holistically. These people were coming from a particular lifestyle, right? For example, when God, so to speak, asked Abraham to sacrifice his son, Isaac, for him. Today, it's ridiculous, right? It sounds ridiculous, but this was common practice, right? So Abraham on his own got the inspiration from whoever he communicated with, not necessarily God directly. It depends on how you want to see it. For example, now again, before there was a time in Arabia when, even if a woman is raped, she would not be allowed to testify in court. Whatever the man says in court is what will be. Even Christians at the time used to victimize women. The pagans at the time used to victimize women. But Prophet Muhammad came with his reforms, and he said 4 women should be, I think 3 or 4 women should be allowed to testify against one man. Now, some people would want to take that law and have it operational in today's world, right? And at the time when these laws were promulgated, they were supposed to bring positive change, right? The prophets that pronounced these laws were trying to control society, to sanitize society. The same thing with Moses. When Moses read those laws to the Israelites, today even the Israelites don't practice those laws, many of them, right? But at the time, the Israelites were coming out from Egypt as barbarians. They had passed through years of slavery, so they were more like wild animals. And he needed laws that would curb their excesses, and that is those laws that you see. My own people have their own history documented. The Yoruba people have their history documented, and they have their own strong men, so to speak, that inspired.
Uncle.
Yes, okay, that inspired the people at their time. So when you want to talk about sin, there's no universal definition of sin. And that is why I'm a Christian, because the basic thing that Christ came and taught was love being the universal law. Because when he came, he actually tried to indirectly rubbish the laws. He was indirectly trying to rubbish religion, because religion is the problem. Because religion was used by politicians to foster their own selfish interests. So the Pharisees, the Sadducees, the scribes, right, they were not comfortable with Christ. So at the time, Christ was also seen as someone like an atheist, because he did not subscribe to the conventions, the hypocrisy of the time. So, but right,
you have to start.
Okay. But he instructed us to love. the universal law of love. So whoever you are, wherever you are, whether you are Igbo, whether you are Chinese, whether you are Israeli, love is a universal law, and that is why I'm a Christian. Every other law in that place doesn't concern me.
Okay, so we're going to take 2 responses to Uncle. Ranting, you're already in there. Who else wants to respond to Uncle? Nobody. So me and Ranting. Oh, okay, and Adebukola. So, Uncle, first of all, I just have a question to ask you. Just a very, very simple question. Can you show me anywhere in the Bible, both Old and New Testament, where rape was regarded as a sin? Is there any passage in the Bible that condemns rape? Uncle, yes or no?
I don't know of any.
You don't know if any, but you are a Christian, and you don't know that if there's any passage in the Bible that condemns rape. That is good to know. That's Ranting. Go ahead.
Okay. I also wanted to ask him a question. He said the Old Testament is, history. He kind of from the old categorization, he has kind of thrown the Old Testament under the bus. Do you pay your tithes?
I don't pay my tithes. I don't pay tithes. I don't have tithes to pay.
Yeah.
My guy.
Okay. You have killed me already. I have no ground to start. So let me move on. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you for listening. Kindly subscribe on the different platforms: Apple, Spotify, Google, YouTube, wherever else you get podcasts from. Then follow me on Clubhouse if you are not, the Ranting Atheist. Links are in the show note below. Have a great week and catch you on the next one.